There is something most people in America never understand about success. The moment your life starts getting better, the world does not always celebrate you. Sometimes it questions you, sometimes it pressures you, and sometimes it pulls you off track completely, because success is not just about building money, it is about protecting your mindset while you build it. Right now, somewhere, someone is quietly making progress in life, but the moment they start talking about it, sharing it, or exposing it too early, something changes. Focus disappears, pressure increases, opinions start coming in, and suddenly, progress slows down. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Most people do not fail because they cannot succeed. They fail because they talk too soon, share too much, and lose control of their silence. In this speech, you are going to understand something powerful: why the most disciplined, successful people in the world often move in silence, and how protecting your progress might be the missing key between where you are and where you are meant to be. But this is not just about money. This is about mindset, discipline, focus, and control over your own life. Because once you understand this message, you may never look at success the same way again. Stay with me until the end, because what you are about to hear could completely change how you build your future. Silence protects your financial growth, because wealth is not only a matter of earning money, but also a matter of protecting your mental focus, emotional stability, and strategic clarity while it is being built. When a person begins to experience financial progress, whether small or significant, there is a natural tendency to share that progress with others. This can come from excitement, pride, or the desire for recognition. However, sharing financial success too early or too openly often exposes a person to unnecessary external influence, which can disrupt their focus and decision-making process. Silence, in this context, becomes a form of protection that allows growth to develop without interference from outside opinions, judgments, or emotional reactions. When financial progress is kept private, it reduces the number of voices that begin to shape or influence decisions. People tend to underestimate how quickly outside opinions can affect internal confidence. Once others become aware of financial progress, they often begin offering advice, comparisons, expectations, or assumptions. Some of this input may come from a good place, but much of it is based on incomplete understanding of the person's full financial strategy or long-term vision. This external noise can lead to confusion, overthinking, or unnecessary changes in direction. Silence helps maintain a clear internal environment where decisions are made based on personal goals rather than external pressure. Another important aspect of silence is emotional protection. Financial growth often requires discipline, patience, and consistent execution over time. When others are aware of progress, there is often subtle pressure to maintain appearances, explain decisions, or meet expectations that were never part of the original plan. This emotional pressure can distract from long-term thinking and shift focus toward short-term validation. Silence removes this layer of pressure, allowing a person to stay grounded in their process without feeling the need to justify or display their progress to others. Silence also protects against comparison dynamics. Once people know about someone's financial progress, comparisons naturally begin. Some may compare themselves and feel discouraged, while others may compare and judge. Both reactions create emotional energy that can indirectly affect the person building wealth. Even without direct involvement, awareness of others' reactions can influence confidence, decision-making, and consistency. By keeping financial growth private, a person avoids becoming part of external comparison cycles that add no real value to their progress. On a deeper level, silence strengthens discipline. When success is not being publicly shared or discussed, the focus remains entirely on execution rather than perception. This allows wealth-building habits to develop without distraction. The individual becomes more focused on strategy, consistency, and long-term results rather than external validation or recognition. Over time, this creates a stronger foundation for financial stability because decisions are driven by clarity rather than emotional influence from others, who may not fully understand the journey, the sacrifices involved, or the long-term vision being pursued in silence without external interference or unnecessary attention shaping the process of growth and development in ways that could weaken focus or disrupt internal discipline needed for sustained financial progress and stability over time. Not everyone celebrates your success because human emotion is complex, and financial progress often triggers a wide range of reactions in others that are not always positive or supportive. When a person begins to succeed financially, it does not only reflect their personal growth, but it also becomes a mirror for others to evaluate their own situation. For some, this reflection creates inspiration and motivation. For others, it can create discomfort, comparison, or even resentment. This is not always intentional or conscious, but it is a natural psychological response when people are confronted with differences in achievement, especially in areas as sensitive as money, stability, and success. The psychology behind this reaction is deeply connected to self-perception and social comparison. Many individuals measure their progress in life relative to those around them. When someone close or familiar begins to rise financially, it can unintentionally highlight gaps in others' progress. Instead of immediately feeling happy, some people may experience internal questioning about their own choices, timing, or opportunities. This emotional discomfort can sometimes transform into subtle negativity, doubt, or criticism, even if the relationship is otherwise positive. In many cases, it is not that people wish harm, but that they struggle with their own internal evaluation when confronted with someone else's success. Another important factor is expectation imbalance. When people know someone before they become successful, they often carry old perceptions of that person. As financial status changes, these perceptions may take time to adjust. During this transition, reactions can vary widely. Some individuals may struggle to accept the new reality and may respond with skepticism or minimize recognition. Others may unconsciously place higher expectations on the successful person, assuming continued access, support, or involvement. Both reactions create emotional complexity that can affect relationships and communication in subtle ways. Not all reactions to success are negative, but even positive attention can create pressure. When success becomes visible to others, it often comes with opinions, advice, and expectations. Some people may genuinely try to help, but their input may not align with the actual strategy or vision of the person experiencing growth. This creates a situation where even well-meaning responses can introduce distraction or confusion. The presence of multiple external voices can dilute clarity and make it harder to stay focused on long-term goals. At a deeper level, this dynamic highlights an important truth about human behavior. People process others' success through the lens of their own experiences, emotions, and beliefs. This means reactions are not always objective or consistent. Understanding this helps explain why not every achievement is met with universal celebration, and why financial growth often changes the way relationships feel over time. Awareness of this reality encourages emotional maturity, allowing individuals to navigate success with greater clarity, protect their focus from external emotional fluctuations, and maintain steady progress without becoming dependent on validation or approval from others, who may interpret success through their own internal struggles, comparisons, or unresolved emotional perspectives shaped by personal circumstances and life experiences that influence perception of achievement and growth in others. Money attracts opinions, not always wisdom, because financial success naturally draws attention. And with that attention comes an influx of perspectives that are not always grounded in experience, accuracy, or understanding. When a person begins to build wealth or shows signs of financial progress, others often feel inclined to comment, advise, or evaluate their decisions. This happens because money is a subject that affects almost everyone emotionally, and people tend to form strong beliefs about how it should be earned, saved, spent, or invested. However, these beliefs are often shaped by personal experiences rather than proven knowledge, which means the advice or opinions shared are not always aligned with effective financial principles. The psychology behind this phenomenon is rooted in human tendency to engage with success through conversation. When someone achieves financial improvement, it becomes visible in different ways, such as lifestyle changes, confidence, or opportunities. This visibility invites curiosity, and curiosity often turns into opinions. Some of these opinions come from a place of genuine care, but many are influenced by personal limitations, fears, or incomplete understanding of wealth-building processes. As a result, the more a person progresses financially, the more voices begin to surround their decisions, each offering a different interpretation of what should be done next. This creates a complex environment where wisdom and opinion become mixed together. True financial wisdom is based on experience, discipline, long-term thinking, and understanding of risk and value creation. However, opinions are often immediate, emotional, and based on surface-level observation. People may suggest actions based on what they would do in a similar situation, without considering the full context of another person's goals, responsibilities, or financial strategy. This can lead to confusion for someone who is trying to build wealth with clarity and focus. Another important aspect is the psychological pressure that comes with external input. When multiple opinions are introduced into financial decision-making, it becomes harder to maintain confidence in one's own strategy. Even when a person has a clear plan, constant external commentary can create doubt, hesitation, or second-guessing. This emotional interference can slow down progress because financial growth often requires consistency and conviction over time. Too many conflicting viewpoints can disrupt that consistency and lead to scattered thinking. Additionally, not all opinions are neutral. Some are influenced by personal limitations, where individuals unconsciously project their own financial beliefs onto others. If someone has experienced financial struggle or has limited exposure to wealth-building strategies, their advice may reflect caution or restriction rather than expansion. While this may be intended as protection, it can unintentionally limit the growth of someone who is operating with a different level of awareness or opportunity. At its core, this principle highlights the importance of discernment in financial matters. As wealth begins to grow, so does the volume of input from others, but not all input carries equal value. Learning to distinguish between experience-based wisdom and emotionally driven opinion becomes essential for maintaining clarity, protecting progress, and ensuring that financial decisions remain aligned with long-term vision rather than being influenced by external noise, assumptions, or incomplete perspectives shaped by individual limitations and personal financial experiences that vary widely from one person to another in real-world economic environments and decision-making contexts involving money and growth. Privacy builds emotional stability because when a person keeps their financial journey, goals, and progress protected from unnecessary external exposure, they create a mental environment that is calmer, more focused, and less influenced by emotional disruption. Emotional stability in wealth building is just as important as financial strategy, because money decisions are often influenced by feelings such as pressure, comparison, excitement, fear, or the need for validation. When too many external factors enter a person's financial life through sharing, discussion, or public attention, it increases emotional variability, which can weaken consistency and clarity in decision-making. At a psychological level, privacy reduces emotional triggers that come from external reactions. When people are unaware of your financial progress, there are fewer expectations placed on you, fewer comparisons made, and fewer opinions directed toward your choices. This allows your mind to operate with greater independence, focusing on personal goals rather than managing external perceptions. In contrast, when financial progress is widely known, individuals often begin to feel observed, evaluated, or even pressured to maintain a certain image. This emotional weight can subtly influence decisions, leading to choices that prioritize appearance or approval instead of long-term strategy. Privacy also helps reduce comparison stress. In social environments where financial progress is visible, people naturally compare themselves with others. Even if comparisons are not intentional, they still create emotional reactions such as pride, discomfort, doubt, or insecurity. These emotions can indirectly affect the person who is being observed, especially when they become aware of how others are reacting to their success. By keeping financial matters private, a person avoids becoming part of this comparison cycle, allowing progress to remain internally guided rather than externally influenced. Another important aspect of emotional stability through privacy is decision clarity. Wealth building requires long-term thinking, patience, and disciplined execution. When decisions are made in an environment free from external commentary, they are more likely to be aligned with personal goals rather than influenced by short-term emotional responses. External attention often introduces noise in the form of advice, assumptions, or expectations, which can complicate even simple financial decisions. Privacy removes much of this noise, allowing the mind to remain clear and focused on consistent progress. Privacy also protects emotional energy. Engaging in discussions about financial progress, explaining decisions, or responding to opinions can consume mental energy that could otherwise be used for planning, learning, or executing strategies. When this energy is preserved, it contributes to better focus and sustained discipline. Over time, this stability becomes a foundation for stronger financial habits because the individual is not constantly reacting to external emotional stimuli, but instead operating from a grounded internal framework. At its core, privacy creates a psychological buffer between a person's financial journey and external emotional influences. It allows growth to develop without unnecessary pressure, comparison, or distraction, supporting a more stable mindset where decisions are guided by long-term vision rather than shifting emotional environments shaped by others' awareness, reactions, and interpretations of success and progress in ways that can subtly influence behavior, confidence, and consistency in financial development and personal growth processes over time. Wealth grows better in silence, not noise, because financial success is a process that requires focus, discipline, and long-term thinking, all of which are easily disrupted by external attention and unnecessary distraction. When a person begins to build wealth, the most valuable asset they possess is not just money, but mental clarity. This clarity allows them to make consistent decisions, follow a structured plan, and resist emotional impulses that can derail progress. However, when financial growth becomes loud through sharing, discussion, or public visibility, it introduces external energy that often shifts attention away from execution and toward perception. The psychology behind this principle is rooted in attention management. Human attention is limited, and whatever it focuses on becomes stronger in influence. When a person is quietly building wealth, their attention remains centered on learning, saving, investing, improving skills, and executing strategies. But when success becomes a topic of conversation, attention begins to split. Part of the mind focuses on maintaining image, responding to opinions, or managing expectations, while another part tries to continue progress. This divided focus reduces efficiency and can slow down long-term results. Noise also introduces emotional instability. External reactions, whether positive or negative, can create emotional fluctuations that affect decision-making. Praise can lead to overconfidence, while criticism can create doubt. Both extremes disrupt consistency, which is essential for wealth building. Silent progress, on the other hand, removes emotional interference and allows decisions to be based purely on logic, strategy, and long-term vision rather than temporary emotional responses. This emotional neutrality is critical for making disciplined financial choices. Another important aspect is the effect of external expectations. When people become aware of someone's financial progress, they often begin to form expectations about future behavior, lifestyle, or involvement. These expectations may not always align with the individual's goals or strategy, but they still create subtle pressure. This pressure can influence spending habits, risk-taking behavior, or timing of decisions. Over time, even small shifts in behavior driven by external expectations can weaken the consistency required for financial growth. Silence also protects focus from comparison dynamics. In environments where financial progress is visible, comparison becomes almost automatic. People begin measuring success against others, which can create unnecessary emotional tension or distraction. Even the person experiencing growth may begin to evaluate themselves based on external benchmarks rather than internal goals. Silence removes this comparison layer, allowing progress to remain personal, structured, and internally guided. At a deeper level, silent wealth building encourages patience. When there is no need to display progress, there is also no pressure to rush results. This allows financial strategies to develop fully over time without interruption. Many forms of wealth require long periods of consistency before visible results appear, and silence protects this developmental phase from premature exposure or external interference. Ultimately, wealth grows best in an environment where attention is fully directed toward execution, emotions are stable, and external influences are minimized. Silence creates that environment by removing distraction, reducing pressure, and preserving the mental space needed for consistent action, strategic thinking, and long-term financial development that unfolds gradually through disciplined effort, uninterrupted focus, and controlled decision-making, shaped by internal clarity rather than external validation or noise that can distort priorities and weaken progress over time. Disciplined people move in silence, then let results speak, because true success is not measured by what is announced, but by what is achieved consistently over time without needing external validation. Discipline in this context is the ability to stay committed to long-term goals, even when there is no audience, no recognition, and no immediate reward. When individuals are truly disciplined, their focus is directed inward toward execution, improvement, and progress rather than outward toward approval or attention. This internal focus allows them to build systems, habits, and strategies that compound quietly, creating results that become undeniable on their own. The psychology behind this principle is deeply connected to delayed gratification and identity formation. Disciplined individuals understand that meaningful outcomes require time, repetition, and patience. Instead of seeking immediate acknowledgement for their efforts, They prioritize consistency over recognition. This creates a mental environment where actions are not influenced by the desire to impress others, but by a clear commitment to personal standards and long-term vision. When attention is removed from external validation, effort becomes more stable and less emotionally dependent, allowing progress to remain steady, even during periods of slow visible results. Silence during the process plays a crucial role in protecting discipline. When progress is not publicly displayed, there is less pressure to maintain appearances or meet external expectations. This allows individuals to focus entirely on improving their craft, building their skills, and refining their strategies without distraction. In contrast, when actions are constantly shared or discussed, there is often subtle pressure to maintain consistency in image rather than in actual results. This can lead to performance driven by perception instead of genuine development, which weakens long-term growth. Another important aspect is emotional independence. Disciplined individuals do not rely on praise, approval, or recognition to stay motivated. Their motivation comes from internal conviction and long-term purpose. This emotional independence allows them to continue working even when no one is watching or acknowledging their progress. Over time, this creates a strong foundation of resilience because their actions are not dependent on external feedback loops. They continue building even in silence, without needing reassurance from others. Eventually, results become the natural outcome of this consistent, quiet effort. When discipline is maintained over time, the outcomes speak for themselves. Success begins to reflect in achievements, financial growth, skill mastery, or life transformation that others can observe without needing explanation. At this stage, communication is no longer required because results carry their own credibility. This shift from talking about goals to demonstrating outcomes reinforces the power of disciplined action, where focus remains on execution rather than attention, and growth is allowed to unfold naturally without interruption from external validation, distraction, or emotional dependency on recognition throughout the journey of personal and professional development shaped by consistency, patience, and internal strength guiding behavior over time. In the end, the real power of wealth is not just in how much you earn, but in how wisely you protect your focus, your mindset, and your silence while you build it. Because the truth is simple. Success does not need to be announced, it needs to be built. Every level of growth in life requires discipline, and every level of discipline requires silence, patience, and emotional control when the world is watching or when no one is watching at all. If you truly understand this message, then you understand that your journey is not about proving anything to others. It is about becoming someone who no longer needs validation to continue moving forward. The strongest people are not the loudest people. They are the ones who build when nobody is clapping, stay focused when nobody is watching, and let results create the noise that words never could. So protect your energy, protect your vision, protect your progress, because not everyone deserves access to your process, and not every opinion deserves a place in your direction. Build in silence, grow in discipline, and let time reveal what consistency has created inside you. I wish you strength when distractions come, patience when results feel slow, and clarity when the world tries to pull your attention away from your goals. Keep going even when no one understands the journey you are on, because the outcome will eventually speak in a language that requires no explanation. Thank you so much for staying until the end of this message. If this speech added value to your mindset and helped you see success from a deeper perspective, make sure to follow and subscribe to my channel Mind Wealth Theory for more powerful motivational speeches, mindset transformation, and life-changing principles that help you grow mentally, emotionally, and financially. Good luck on your journey. Stay focused, stay disciplined, and let your results speak louder than anything you ever say.